Hello, mathematicians. Welcome to practice test. So this is for lesson 25, where we are using fractions in tenths and hundredths and adding them. So here we go. Here's sample number 1. Decide if each equation is true. Choose true or false for each equation. So you really have 4 problems to do on number 1. Some of them, though, we might be able to glance and see. Okay, so the first one says 7 tenths plus 7 hundredths. So we know that 7 tenths, we're going to have to change that to hundredths because the denominators are not the same and they need to be the same if you're going to add them. 7 tenths times 10 times 10 is the same as 70 hundredths. So that is going to be 70 hundredths. That's a 0 for reals. 70 plus 7 is 77. Yes, I agree. Next one is 6 hundredths plus 2 tenths. 6 hundredths plus 2 tenths. Okay, so let me erase bigly. What? Okay, quick erase. So now we've got to change the 2 tenths into hundredths times 10 times 10. So this is all the work that you should be doing when you take your test. You find paper or use your whiteboard. You should be showing your work on each problem. That would give us 20 hundredths. So then we have 20 hundredths plus 6 hundredths is 26, not 62. No. And our next one, I'll just do it in a different color. 9 hundredths plus 3 tenths. So we need to change that 3 tenths to hundredths times 10 times 10. 3 times 10 is 30. So we have 30 hundredths for this part, plus 9 would be 39. I see what they're doing there. Now this next one, I can tell it's wrong. I don't even have to work it all the way out because I know that tenths plus hundredths is not 110. If it's whole numbers, yes, but not in fractions. So that one's also negative. All right, so when you do this problem, number 1, when you do it on your test, see all this work that I showed, and I already erased the work for the first one. So you need to do work for each problem, put it on your whiteboard or your paper somewhere. Convince yourself that you're right so you can get 100%. Amy buys 3 tenths of a pound of cheese. Alex buys 71 hundredths of a pound of cheese. Which model represents the amount of cheese that Amy and Alex buy all together? So Amy is 3 tenths, Alex is 70 hundredths. Which model? So we're looking for a model of all together. So if I'm looking for a model of all together, I might as well just solve it. So 71 hundredths plus 3 tenths. So 3 tenths is going to change to hundredths times 10 times 10. And you might be doing this part in your head right now. That's fine. So 30 hundredths plus 70 hundredths is going to be 100 hundredths, which is going to be 1 whole because I did notice that one of these was all shaded in. So let's see if that makes sense. Does it make sense that, let's see, Amy would be 3 tenths, so that'd be 1, 2, 3 tenths. Yep, Amy could be there. And then 71 hundredths could be Alex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Yeah, that works. So letter B. All right, so that's all the work I did to show that. I like to solve it first, then go to look at the answers and see if I agree with them. Marcus plants daffodils in 6 tenths of his garden and sunflowers in 11 hundredths of his garden. Which expressions show how to find the total fraction of the garden in which Marcus plants daffodils and sunflowers? Choose all the correct answer. Okay, so Looks like it's about Marcus planting flowers. I've had a Marcus before. Maybe some of you know him. Marcus Gaffney. Super fun. So what are we trying to find out? Marcus plants daffodils in 6/10 of his garden and sunflowers in 11/100ths of his garden. Which expression shows how to find the total fraction? So we're looking for expression in a math sentence, which makes sense that we have a whole bunch of math sentences. Oh, it says choose all correct answers. That means there's probably more than one way to do it. They often try to trick us on this. Okay, so we are adding, and it looks like the important numbers are daffodils, which are usually yellow. Daffodils are 6/10. And then, well, we kind of wanted orange. Sunflowers, 11/100ths. Okay, so let's add those up. Some other color. Okay, 6/10 plus 11/100ths is the easy sentence. Do we see that anywhere? 6/10, yes. So definitely A. But as we know, we have to choose all the correct answers. So probably we could change this because that's what we've been doing a lot. So 6/10 times 10 times 10 would be 60/100ths. Okay, because that could be another equation, 60/100ths. That would be equivalent to that. And do we have that? 6/10? Nope. 60/100ths? Yes, yes. C. So C matches that. That's the usual way we've been doing it. Let's see what's wrong with B. 6/10. This matches. Is 1/10 the same as 11/100ths? 10/100ths is. This one, 16/100ths would be, yeah, that's not the same. That's like changing it to 16 pennies. And it's supposed to be 60 pennies or 6 dimes. So 6 dimes works. 60 pennies works. This right here stands for $6. Or 6 gardens in this case. See how I just switched it to many? Okay, so that's all our work. We've got 2 correct answers. So make sure you convince yourself when you do those by trying each one. Aiden paints 4/10 of a fence. Drew paints 4/100ths of the same fence. What fraction of the fence do they paint in all? Show your work. Aiden and Drew paint blank of the fence. So how much of the fence? Aiden does 4/10. That's an important number there. Aiden 4/10. And then Drew is 4/100ths, which is not very much. What's up with Drew? What fraction of the fence do they paint in all? So we've got 4/10 plus 4/100ths. And it's easiest probably to switch the 4/10 to hundredths times 10 times 10. 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, so that means our equation is now 40/100ths plus 4/100ths. Okay, because we changed the 4/10 to the 40/100ths. And that's easy to add because then it's 40 plus 4 is 44/100ths. And that will be our final answer. Together, 44/100ths. Yeah, Drew didn't do much. Aiden did a lot more. Good job, Aiden. Okay, last one. Complete the equation to show how to find the sum of 7/10 plus 20/100ths. 7/10 plus 20/100ths. So 7/10 plus 20/100ths. Okay, looks like they've already started to change that to hundredths for us. Okay, and we know how to do that. 7/10 times 10 over 10, because that's the same as 1. 7 times 10, 70. 10 times 10, 100. All right, so that means we'll get to put a 70 there. And then 70 plus 20 is 90, and their size 100. The denominator stays the same. That's how you do it. That's what you would put in those boxes. All All right, so make sure you take your time. Make sure you show all your work like you've seen me do throughout this practice test. And let's earn 100%. Do your best. Bye, mathematicians.